It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and as I always do, I also like to recognize the amazing staff at Thornell Road, the entire Thornell Road family for their ongoing commitment and dedication to our mission of teamwork, respect, and excellence for students. I believe that you have the topic outline and the PowerPoint handout in your packets. So with that, I would like to just jump right in and begin. So on October 11th, we had a superintendent's conference day. And I actually, after having the privilege of leading the building work there and talking to my colleagues district-wide, I look at October 11th as a landmark day in this district, and I think that that's not an overstatement. Regardless of where our staff has been on the journey with regards to equity and cultural proficiency, the entire district spent a considerable amount of time with common language and a shared experience in discussing and identifying systems and structures and practices that may be equal but not equitable. At Thornell Road, as took place in all the other schools, we had table groups that began brainstorming and looking at those systems and structures and finding out where are we equal but not equitable, and we began brainstorming possible solutions. So that work is very important. That will continue throughout the year. It will include our instructional leadership team as well as other groups. And our goal is to create an action plan that will help us take the necessary steps to move from equal to equitable practices in our schools. In addition, we looked at different aspects of culture, those that are visible, which include food, music, art, dress, language, and literature, in those aspects of culture that are invisible, things like concepts of personal space, nonverbal communication, leadership preferences, cooperation, and relationship to nature. And we discussed our responsibility as educators to be culturally proficient and discuss the way that culture impacts all aspects of the teaching and learning process. So at the culmination of our work, we recognized how cultural proficiency really functions as and needs to function as a worldview, a perspective, a mindset, and a guide to how we lead our lives and how we approach our work in the classroom and in our buildings. During that day, some of the teachers shared how they've already begun to invite parents and students to share and teach them more about the visible and invisible aspects of their culture in order to strengthen our relationships within the classroom and within our families, and with also the goal of improving learning opportunities with our students. And we will continue to build upon this work during the school year. There are several examples of work that have already started and things that we've begun. And while I have a list of examples on the screen, I'd like to highlight just a few. For example, our Book a Day program. So Mrs. Jana Ottavino, our library media specialist, and Mrs. Radhika Ramesh, our library assistant, they have formally introduced the Book a Day program at our school. And the purpose of this program is to provide classroom teachers with 5 newly released or beloved picture books each week. And these stories are used within the classroom setting to as a read aloud and also a discussion starting point. So there are a lot of themes and topics and concepts. Some of them are very much aligned with our work in cultural proficiency. And it's a wonderful way to open up conversations within the classroom between students and adults around a variety of topics. And there's actually a weekly delivery and pickup service that we provide. So the books will leave our library, go to the classrooms, and we have these nice bags that shuffle back and forth. And the students in our intermediate developmental program are responsible for the delivery and pickup. So it's turned into a really nice opportunity for vocational training as well. Relationship mapping. I believe at every building there's been relationship mapping work that has taken place. And at the end of the last school year, we took a slightly different approach by looking at students' perspective as to who they would identify as a trusted adult. So we asked students in grades 2 through 4 to identify a trusted adult in our school. And our school counselor, Lisa Hems, led those discussions in the classroom. And we compiled all of those student responses by teacher, by staff member. And on August 29th, each staff member, as they were returning to school, received an envelope with their students who identified them as a trusted adult. And we have offered the challenge to make sure that we are connecting with those individuals at least once a week, if not more, and really trying to establish those relationships moving forward so that every child in our school has at least one trusted adult, and in many cases, they have several to choose from. The one thing that I would like to mention, because when we talk about offering it to grades 2 through 5, some of our anecdotal research at the building level suggests that our youngest learners tend to look at the adults who are immediately in front of them as a trusted adult. So we wanted to look at students who are a little bit older, a little bit further along in their educational career, to think about when that happens and those shifts change, where would you go? And it's been really interesting because we had our custodial staff members identified, we had our clerical staff identified, we had food service members identified. So everybody that has any hand in our school culture and our school environment in one way or another was identified as a trusted adult, which is really amazing. We were hoping that would be the case, but to have that verified was really fulfilling for us to see. So that work will continue again throughout the year. We're going to revisit that mid-year to see what changes have occurred and to try to make sure that the information that we have is current, and we're also making sure that we're changing and evolving with what students' needs are. And again, here are a few more examples of the work that we have started, and I will highlight the community building circles and the Shinshinim program in the subsequent slides. Katie Wells is our full-time social emotional learning support specialist, and this year she has been helping our teachers focus on building relationships and strengthen interpersonal skills within the classroom. And through the use of community circles, this has become a very important focus for the work that we're doing. Community building circles, if you're not familiar, is a structure, it's rooted in the tradition of talking circles that the indigenous peoples in North America have used for thousands of years. And what we've recognized is that as part of our human experience, that we feel connected to other people when we sense that they see us, that they know us, and that they care about us. So the community building circles are all about giving opportunities for students to be seen, to be heard, to be known, and to develop understanding, respect, empathy, and affection. And it's not only for students, but our staff participate as well. And it's really doing an amazing job of lifting up and strengthening the relationships in the classrooms. Our September staff meeting was dedicated to using community building circles in the classroom, and that was a really good opportunity for us to bring this to each teacher. And we also connected that and continued that at our superintendent's conference day. And the pictures on the slide there were taken on October 11th. During that day, Katie Wells and Greta Johnston led a community building circle with all of the Thornell Road staff. They also modeled a community building circle with a small group of volunteers in a fishbowl structure as a model that can be used in the classroom. Katie Wells is working with our teachers to lead and model this process for the classrooms, and typically what's happening is that she will go in and she will lead a circle, and she may lead it once or twice, and then she will offer the opportunity for the teacher to lead a circle with her there. And what we're trying to do is to build the confidence and the capacity for teachers to learn and to develop and offer those community building circles on a regular basis in the classroom. It's interesting because she even offered the community building circle to our Best Buddies Club, which is really a nice opportunity. So any group that comes together, that works together over time, this is a wonderful opportunity to strengthen those relationships and to get to know each other and develop an appreciation that goes beyond just knowing each other as classmates or as workmates. So 5 years ago, we began our participation in the Education Bridge program. And it's interesting to be presenting tonight because we are in the middle of hosting our delegation from Modi'in, Israel. This year, the Jewish Federation of Rochester is participating in the Shinshinim program for the first time. And as you may recall, this program involves young adults from Israel who are deferring their military obligation for 1 year to travel to other places in the world and to develop community service as a way of offering opportunities to learn more about Israeli culture. So this year, Thornell Road and Calkins Road are partnering together and are hosting Shinshinim participants. And on Thursday, many of you had the privilege of meeting Karen Shoham and Gilad Emerai Steinfeld, our Shinshinim. They are incredible young people, and to watch them working in our classrooms and to develop the understanding about Israeli culture in a way that we would not be able to share has been really fascinating and really been an amazing experience for our kids. One of the things that we are doing right now is that their work has begun in our partnership classrooms. And this year, we currently have 5 general education partnership classrooms and 2 special education classrooms. But our hope and our goal is to develop opportunities for them to be in all classrooms by the end of the school year. So currently, they are with us every other Thursday for a half day. And we were having some conversations. In February, they will return home to Israel for a period of time and then come back to us. And we're having conversations about maybe expanding that time. We're recognizing that it's just become such an amazing program that the very little precious time that we have, we'd actually like to add to. So we're going to have some conversations about having that happen. As an extension of our continued community partnerships with our American Legion and Honor Flight, this year Thornell Road is serving as the coordinating school for the Honor Flight of Rochester Mail Call. Tony Stevens Oliver, a 4th grade teacher, is helping to take the lead with this project. And what it is that we're working with teachers and students within our school and within area schools who write letters to each of the veterans who are traveling on Honor Flight. And we compile and organize all those letters and then actually deliver them on the Friday evening before Honor Flight takes off. And I can tell you that as part of the Honor Flight experience, that this is a very, very important part of their experience, and I will tell you that it becomes one of the most memorable aspects of Honor Flight of Rochester. In June of 2018, I had the privilege of going with Commander Herd Klotz as his guardian. He is the commander of the American Legion in Pittsford, and I can tell you to listen and just observe that mail call be delivered. It's a very special moment in the lives of the veterans that are participating in Honor Flight. So we're very privileged to have that honor, and we are anxiously trying to increase and offer the invitation to other schools as well so that they can add to it. Our goal is to give each veteran a bundle of letters that have been personalized to his or her service, and that really means a lot to them as they're traveling and experiencing that weekend. So again, on Thursday, many of you had an opportunity to visit our makerspace in our library. So for the past 2.5 years, our library media specialist, Jana Ottavino, has had this amazing vision of bringing a makerspace to Thornell Road. And she has attended conferences, she's done a lot of research, and she has looked at how can we make this vision a reality. And this year, we're very pleased that we're opening up the doors to have this space offered to our students. And the basis for the makerspace is really, it's an area that's meant to cultivate student interest in science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And it really is interesting because it really has a variety of aspects to it. It could be high-tech, it could be low-tech, and it could be no-tech. And the idea is that we're looking at discovery associated with tinkering and creating using a variety of materials and supplies. And I will tell you that it's quickly become a very favorite place for students to visit, and we've just enjoyed watching them. And you can see in the back on the screen there, you'll see in that blue square is actually a Lego panel where kids can build and actually add to it. And since the time you saw it on Thursday, they've already added to it. So it's been really fun to watch that grow. So the collaborative workspace is giving students an opportunity for hands-on experiences and letting them use critical thinking skills, creativity, and problem solving. So currently our funding sources have come from a BOCES grant, our generous PTSA, and our building budget. And there are discussions currently underway to bring a 3D printer into that space as well. So we're hoping that we can make that a reality as well. And here are some pictures of students using the makerspace. And it's interesting because you may not recognize the fact that it's connected to our library. The American Association of School Librarians has offered significant key commitments, and one of those key commitments is helping students discover and innovate in a growth mindset developed through experience and reflection. So there's very much a lot of guiding language around makerspaces in the library. And they're also looking at constructing new knowledge, students constructing new knowledge by problem solving through cycles of design, implementation, and reflection, as well as persisting through self-directed pursuits by tinkering and making. And again, here are just a few pictures of our students engaged in some of their learning in the makerspace. And before I conclude, as I like to do, I'd like to just take a few moments to talk about the wonderful artwork that is displayed here this evening. Our art teacher, Helga Lubers, has turned celebrating International Day in September into a school tradition. And the artwork that you have represented on the walls here is by each grade level using dots in a creative way. Our kindergarten students created artwork based on the book Where Are You Blue by Sonali Fry and Holly Clifton Brown, and each student cut out circles and turned them into people. Our first grade artists created artwork in the style of Robert Delaney's Experiments in Color and Form. Each student traced circles within circles using only red, yellow, and blue to get a wide range of new colors. Our second grade students studied and created dot painting, a form of expression developed by the indigenous people of Australia. It's actually very beautiful. This is a very beautiful form of art. Our third grade artists read a book about Louis Braille and learned about Braille as a tactile writing system for people who are visually impaired. And students created textured artwork using dots of various sizes and different types of textured paper and materials. Our fourth grade students created an art supply collage in the style of pointillism by Georges Seurat. And our fifth grade students read the book The Button Blanket by Nan McNutt. They studied the Pacific Northwest Native American art form to create a small blanket with sewn buttons that represent something significant or important to them or their family. And again, I'd like to publicly thank everyone at Thornell Road for all that they do each day to take great care of our students, our families, and each other, and to thank each of you once again for your constant support, leadership, and encouragement. I'd like to end with one of my favorite pictures of our school, which is a real picture, not photoshopped, by the way. It was taken by a staff member a few years ago, and it's on our school TV in the main foyer, and the quote from Maya Angelou as a reminder that we should always be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Did anyone have any questions?
I really appreciated visiting, and you said something when we talked about how you had changed the bus number of the urban-suburban bus, and that really stuck with me. Like, that made such a difference, and it's a small thing, but it really made a difference, and I just wanted you to share that with everyone if they don't know that.
Sure. One of the themes that we have all taken away from Superintendent's Conference Day is that it's the little things that make a big difference. And the story that Irene is referring to, so obviously we have participated in the urban-suburban program. The district has for over 50 years, and we have participated at Thornell Road. And one of the things that came to light last school year, some of our students in the urban-suburban program, as we line up for buses, there are all different bus numbers, all in numerical order. And our urban-suburban bus was labeled with a U and an S. And one of the students said, "Why don't we have a bus number?" And that little statement prompted me to think about how do we make this an opportunity to correct that, to make this, make things equitable and give everybody a bus number. Well, every bus number that comes to us by first student has a route number, 982. So this year we used 982 as the bus number, as the route number. So everybody, when you look at the bus lineup, everybody has a number to associate with their buses. And every child has a bus number, whether it's a large bus, it's a small bus. They are all arrayed in the same way, which was really nice. So the little things can make a very big difference. So thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you. Anyone else?
As part of being a Rotarian, when I go to Rotary, I have so many compliments from Rotarians about the work that you do with veterans. And at Thornell Road, I have to give a lot of credit for your involvement with partnerships, both within Pittsford, outside of Pittsford, and outside of our country. And so I want to thank you for your leadership and bringing people into Thornell Road and exposing our students and staff and others to be part of something bigger than them. So thank you.
Great. Thank you. Well, thank you for your support. I couldn't do it without everybody here, so thank you.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.